All right, so Cody.
Yes, sir.
It's been a lot of people looking for you, man.
Yeah, it's been a journey, that's for sure.
For those of you that haven't seen Cody's story yet, I just want to show a couple images on screen so you can see exactly what post we're talking about and how far down he kind of fell from where he was at. Cody, what was the most challenging thing about living on the streets like that?
As any addict can imagine, is finding the means to support your habit, and then the ability to eat, and then being in a relationship was another struggle. And
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of predators out there, and then there's a lot of people that feed off your energy. But really, it's just the everyday life. I mean, waking up and then going to sleep, knowing where you're going to sleep, and being able to fall asleep with one eye open. That was a big struggle for myself.
Because even when you're out there homeless, having nothing, people are still going to try and rob you, right?
Oh yeah,
whatever
definitely.
You might have, you got $10 in your pocket. They're going to try and take that $10. Right?
I couldn't tell you how many times I lost everything and had to rebuild. And it's just a part of the everyday life of living on the streets. And it's sad that you get used to it, but once
it becomes comfortable. Right?
Yes, it does. And that's actually one of the struggles I find myself with now is I miss the hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a problem for me, but I'm going to learn the coping skills for that.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here, man. For those of you that don't know as well, we're at Wavelengths Recovery Center right now. It's actually where I work. It's one of the best centers in the entire country. We have a 68% success rate, which is, so much higher than the national average. A lot of rehabs out there, they only have an 11% success rate. So 68% is kind of unheard of. And when I heard your story, Cody, dude, it touched my heart, man, because your mom going out there and looking through Vegas, knocking on tents and stuff, bro.
Yeah.
She's doing whatever she could.
She's intimidating.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with your mom.
Yeah, that's one woman I don't want to
mess with. For sure, man, for sure. And she made this post, just looking for her son. And I showed you guys the post, and I read it, and I saw it, and it affected me. But then I had another mom reach out to me personally that I know. She had lost her daughter to an overdose, and she said, Richie, I don't know what it is about this story, but it's just been put on my heart to ask you to share this on your page, And I reach 5-6 million people a month on my page, and I said, you know what? I'll do it. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So then the post blew up on my page, right?
Right.
And I get more and more messages, and then finally, as I understand it, somebody that had seen the post found you,
yes,
and then contacted this guy named Taylor, that kind of was traveling across the country to raise awareness about homelessness. And then they find you, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about the moment that when they found you. What was that like?
So he actually resembles me quite a bit. So a bunch of my friends that lived on the streets there were telling me that my mother and my brother were looking for me. And I haven't seen my brother in a long time, so I was riding my bike down the sidewalk. I see this guy in a handkerchief and a cowboy hat throw his arms up in front of me, and I jumped off the bike. I didn't know what was about to happen. He's like, hey, I'm Taylor. I've been looking for you. And I was like, what do you mean you've been looking for me? And he's like, so what you don't know is you're famous, dude. I didn't understand what he was talking about. And he told me, and it's crazy how God works in your life, because me and my significant other, we've been talking about going to rehab and getting some help, because we're so sick of the struggle and the fight to keep looking for what's next whenever there's nothing left that's next. I mean, it's the same repetitive stuff that you get sick of. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I mean, it couldn't have come in a more perfect time in my life.
Yeah. I think it's been amazing to see how God's kind of orchestrated this whole thing.
Yes.
In a second, you'll hear from Ashley Baker. She was actually on the show 60 Days In with me. And we ran into a challenge trying to get you out to Wavelengths, right?
Yeah.
These two, like a lot of homeless people, didn't have IDs.
Right.
No IDs.
Exactly.
Guess what you can't do without an ID? You can't get on a plane. And, they're out in Vegas. They need to get all the way to California. They don't have a car, obviously. So I'm sitting here and I'm racking my brain, right? And I'm really wondering, how are we going to get these two out there?
Right,
I'm talking to your mom. I'm trying to figure it out. We're looking into maybe a bus ticket or something, right? Maybe flying in and driving you from there. And then suddenly it hit me. I said, oh my God, Zach and Ashley both live in Vegas. So I called up Ashley. She answered the phone, and she said yes, dude. And she said she can give you a ride. So tell me, what was that ride like?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you how the ride was.
Yeah.
I was
Were you pretty out of it?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
asleep in my girlfriend's lap the whole ride.
Okay.
But when we stopped at 8 and stopped at the gas station, and just from those short moments, incredible individual. I mean, her and her husband were the nicest people, and they really had a lot of good things to say about Wavelength. So it really supported our decision in coming into here. Yeah.
Well, I was really happy to give you the opportunity to come here. This is a center I really, really believe in. We've had a lot of these kids that sometimes get caught up in what's called as the shuffle. And that means they go from one rehab to another rehab to another rehab. I'm sure you've heard of it as well,
Yeah,
right?
I've gone through it.
You've gone through the shuffle yourself, so and it almost becomes, like you said, a way of life. Like you almost become institutionalized to rehab, right?
Yes.
And you just get used to the rehab life, and you never step outside and make that transition.
Right.
And why I really like Wavelengths is we break that cycle. We have 64 different people that work for Wavelengths that have came here for treatment, right?
Right.
And that's one way that we break the cycle. We do a lot of things differently because we've had so many kids that were just like you that maybe have been to treatment 10 times, 15 times, went through the shuffle, got caught up and lost in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Well, they came here and now they got 3-4 years clean, man. And, if you keep doing the next right thing, I think that you can be the next one.
Yeah, I really hope so.
There's no reason you can't, brother.
Exactly.
Absolutely. What was it like trying to keep your girlfriend safe on the streets like that? Like, I can't imagine, during my addiction, I had some girlfriends that I had and, there was some crazy things that happened. But I at least had a place to lay my head down at night.
Yeah.
I can imagine it got scary. Probably.
It got very scary, and then not even just scary to keep her safe. It was scary of losing her because you get an opportunity for someone to take her into their house, and you want to provide that shelter for her, so you have to let her go, but you don't want to let her go.
Yeah.
And then on the streets, to say the least, I got jumped a lot over being in a relationship, people wanting her, and then the drugs. Owing money and things like that. So you have to really get tough. Tough mentally and tough physically. And you go through a lot.
Yeah.
And I honestly have to put a lot of the weight on her because she pulled us through a lot of times. There was a lot of times I wanted to give up, and I felt like life wasn't worth it anymore. But then for her to turn around and come towards me with a smile, it is to say 1,000 words.
Right?
Yeah, I chased it.
So that's kind of incredible, man. In this dark, desolate, terrible place, you guys still managed to find some love, right?
Yeah.
And you guys kind of leaned on each other and kept each other going until you could get some help.
It just supports the fact that love is the most powerful thing, and it pulled me through a lot of very dark times.
Absolutely, man. And, I think it's an incredible thing that you guys just made it out in general.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
We can cut this if you don't want to.
Right.
But I imagine, to get drugs, especially having a girlfriend, did she have to go off and do certain things? And if you don't want to talk about that, we don't have to.
It's perfectly okay. She never had to stoop to that level. But as an attractive woman as she was, we manipulated men. Men would come and offer it, and they'd want to be sugar daddies, per se.
Yeah.
We feed on that because, it's a way to support the habit. And, it's something to look back and regret. And it hurts, but the very nature of the disease is that you will do whatever it takes to get your next fix. And it sucks, but it happened.
Yeah. And in your experience, seeing other homeless women out there, how many of them do you think are out, selling their bodies?
A lot. It's a very large percentage. I have a lot of really close friends that are women that do it. And I have close friends that are men that do it as well. Yeah. And it doesn't depict between sexes. It's what you're willing to do to get your next fix.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that. Sometimes even men, selling themselves to other men when they're normally straight, just because they want that fix that bad. They want the drugs that bad, and that, shows how powerful the pull that is.
Oh yeah.
That people are willing to do that kind of stuff, and it's a really sad thing, and it's a cycle we need to break. Ashley Baker was on 60 Days In, just like myself. Ashley actually went undercover in the jail on A&E to kind of expose what jail life is like. But what we're going to be talking about today is, the ride with Cody. And Cody's laughing because he already knows, man. I know how it is, dude. When you're all messed up on drugs like that, dude, it's how it is. So, Ashley, first of all, what did you think when you got the call from me and I said, hey, you think you can give these kids a ride?
All right, so when I first got the call, I was like, whatever I can do to help in this situation, I'm down. Like, we're in Vegas. I saw this story on Facebook, this mom reaching out for her son, and I'm just like, holy, we're in Vegas too, right? So if there's any way we can help, I'm down. And then I'm like, all right, but I've never been in this situation. This is my first time ever bringing anybody to rehab.
Yeah. So
I'm like nervous because you just never know what can happen until the very last minute. You know what I mean? Things can go wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I was excited to help.
So, was it kind of nerve-wracking, like wondering, like, if while you're transporting them, like they might OD or something like that?
It was extremely nerve-wracking. Like every minute, like even up until they got in the car, I'm like, they could run. I know nothing about them, right? So I'm like, they could bail out, whatever,
They
and
could, like,
then
freak out and get mad and attack you or something. I think Cody's a nice guy. He wouldn't do that, but you don't know. Like sometimes, like even myself, like sometimes people get on meth and like they just don't think logically, and they bug out and they attack people and do really messed up things.
Yeah, that's why I had Zach drive with me just in case, because I was like, they could, attack me and kill me in the middle of the desert, take my car. Like that's happened before, right? And I'm nothing against him personally, but like you said, when you're high on drugs, you're not yourself. You don't know, you know what I mean? You could do anything. So yeah, a little nerve wracking, yes, absolutely.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how long of a drive was it for you?
It was, so we left around 11 a.m. and it's normally like, 4.5 hours or so, but we made some stops along the way, so total time there was like a little over 7.5 hours.
What about getting back? How long do you think you guys were on the road the whole day?
About 14 hours.
Wow, 14 hours.
Yeah.
And again, I can't thank you enough for doing that, because like I said with Cody earlier, I was just racking my brain, like how are we going to get this kid there? He has no ID. Like how are we going to get him there? And then you were willing to take him, and that was really awesome of you to do. And I can't thank you enough.
What did you think, first impression when she pulled up? Like,
my first impression of Ashley and her husband was, I thought they were like avid churchgoers, I'm thinking, here's these great Christian people about to drive my drug addict self and my girlfriend. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to talk to these people, but it turned out great. We heard a little bit of their story, and then that helped. It really helped me. I can't speak for my girlfriend, but I was very hesitant though to the last moment, and hearing their story and just getting to know them, it really helped.
I think at first there was like some tension, like we didn't know each other, and then once they found out, like I was on the streets for a while, like I was a drug addict. My husband's a Marine, so he's not like this perfect person either, like batshit crazy like everybody else. We all kind of bonded, and it was a really life-changing ride for me. I've never,
definitely, to say the least,
since the closest I've been to people actively using drugs near me since I got sober. Even when I was in jail, like there was some distance. We're in the car, and I'm like within arm's reach, and they've got when you go in, you got your stuff. You're gonna use it up before you go in, right? As much as possible. Yeah. And so I wasn't prepared for that, but it was a learning experience for me too. And Zach, the same. Like he learned a lot from that. So yeah.
And I thought that was really good, because Ashley, you're somebody I believe in. I think you could help a lot of people, and your story has helped a lot of people. Like I won't go too much into it because it's not about me, but that's how I met Ashley, was because I was inspired by her story watching 60 Days In, and me, I reached out to her and got to know her. So, last question I want to ask you, Ashley, is this: what was going through your mind when you finally dropped Cody off? Like after the long ride, after all this new stuff that you have and experience, two people still high, stopping, wanting to get high. What went through your mind when you finally got them to the rehab?
Just like complete relief, because up until then, like we stopped a couple times, and I was even like, should we stop? Like Zach texted me, and he was like, we don't stop till we get there. And I'm like, well, if they want food or whatever, like someone can bail out at any time. So my question to you, like, were you thinking at any point, like, I don't like I'm gonna bail out. I don't want to go.
I had a couple
I'm
of
just gonna
thoughts.
sprint, you know?
I had a couple of thoughts,
I got to the beach and I'm gonna say, you know.
I thought, and I was like, man, it's a long walk back to Vegas. So that definitely kept me.
But I think right after we dropped Kate off, and then we stopped at the gas station to buy you some cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I was like, get whatever you want. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. So we went and got like one candy bar. I'm like, get whatever you want. So he grabs 4 candy bars. And he takes off and he's like, whatever I want. I'm like, dude, okay, so he goes and gets chocolate milk and cereal and like and so $50 at the gas station later. And I saw something in you at that moment. Seriously, you were like a little kid again, like he was like dancing around the gas station, like pouring his chocolate milk and his cereal, like, and I'm like, that's who he is, and I can see it, and I can see where he's gonna be if he sticks with this. Like, you got people following you, like hard. Yeah. Your page is blowing up, so don't like. I'm so excited for everything for you.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I.
So am I, man. You know, this whole thing's been really amazing to see God at work with this. To have so many different people just line up just perfectly to get somebody help. And, you know, Cody, you know, I'm going to be in contact with you. If you ever need anything, you know, you can call me. I'm going to be out here to visit you, doing everything I can to help you guys. And, you know, if you guys are watching this, keep following along. We're going to keep posting some updates.
Yeah, at first I wasn't even aware that this was a story, and I wasn't aware that it would become a story. And I was offered the chance to go on Dr. Phil, and I saw this opportunity that I'm taking now as a way to outreach to people, to try and get that extra help if you can. And whenever those sources are out there and available for you, to take them, because there are people that I was struggling with on the streets that don't have that ability or the availability for them to take these steps. So if you have that chance, or the family members like my mother that reached out and really put her boots on the ground to really step up and take that chance. You know, every decision we make in life is on chance, and you always have that one swing determining factor that leads you down one road or another. And you know, I'm learning now that I don't have to necessarily take the best choice or the best choice, but if I don't take the worst, that's going to put me in a better direction. And I'm really blessed and thankful for the opportunity that I've had. So I would love to share my journey with people so they can see really under the curtain on what us addicts have to go through. You know, and it's a hard struggle for us, and people aren't really aware of what we have to go through. And if I can be someone that shows people what steps we have to take, and the kind of the pressure that we're under, and make others aware of it, if that helps just one person out there, I'm really glad I can do my part.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and hear Cody's story. And, you know, when Cody asked me to share his story, I was a little hesitant at first. But the more he talked about it, it was a story I felt that needed to be shared and it needed to be heard, because there's millions of Americans all across the country that struggle with the same thing, that struggle with mental health disorders, that struggle with addiction or homelessness, or all three of the above like Cody. And it's important that we make a change with this. So if you feel inclined to do so, please share this video. Let's get this out there. Let's start a conversation. There's millions of Codys out there that if they just had a chance, if they had help, they could get better. I love you guys so much, and thank you for watching.